I got to lean in.
What's up, everybody? It is me again, and it is time to lean in, bitch. What's going on, Jasmine? I ain't been on the camera with you in a minute, chat. Oh, not titty. What's going on, y'all? We're here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know what episode it is. I think it's episode 6 or 7, but it's titled "Who Gonna Check Me, Boo?" And I found that title to be kind of interesting because I didn't see no reference at all in the episode about it, but we'll talk about it. I'm here with Jasmine and Antonio, and Denise will be joining us shortly when they get their technical difficulties together. But until then, make sure y'all, if y'all watching right now, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I know many of y'all are, but not many, but I see people like Dr. Sihu and some others telling me that they're not getting notifications for some reason. I don't know why, but what I will say is make sure that you're subscribed for one, and then while you're subscribed, make sure that under the video, the little bell on the video, make sure it's selected as all or personalized. That way, you should get notifications. If you don't, child, we got to go down to the YouTube and let them know what's going on because apparently y'all are missing the content because of that. But it's not us. I promise you, it's YouTube. It ain't us. Okay, we got
Antonio.
What's going on, Antonio?
What up? What up? How y'all doing?
That's a nice shirt.
It is. So much. It's giving beautiful.
It's giving pride. Okay, well, we can go ahead and get started. I haven't done Atlanta in like 2 weeks, so first of all, welcome back to me. It's been a minute. For those that don't watch Beverly Hills but watch Atlanta only, Chase did a phenomenal job. I now know that whenever I need to go, Chase is gonna be here to keep the show going. Really good show, good content. So with that being said, this week's episode, funny thing is, let me tell you this, and don't beat me up. I didn't even watch last year's episode. But I watched the review. I was flying back last week during the time of the review, and I watched that, and then I watched a lot of clips. So I already know what happened for the most part. So I picked up on this episode. I watched it all, and so it's kind of a to be continued because they're at Sanya's dinner, right? Her Jamaican dinner. And basically what's happening is... Oh, wait. Hold on 1 second. You ready, child? Okay. I was just making sure, honey. Okay, so at this dinner, they're having there's a couple of conversations going on now. I know y'all talked about the mom getting involved last week. But basically, at this dinner, the first big thing that happens is Drew throws Sanya under the bus about her glam. Right. And what she says is that her glam, whatever, Artez, I actually know, I've seen his Instagram and I've seen her tag him a lot. He actually keeps Drew looking right. Apparently, she says that Artez did her glam for free. And Sanya is just like, oh, wait a minute. It was $25. And I spent $25. Well, I'm confused. Was that supposed to be something? But I don't know, neither here or there. But this basically, in Sanya's head, it proves that this is why she can't be friends with Drew. Drew addresses Sanya and she tells, basically what we've been saying, that basically, why did you have to bring this up from the group? You had an issue. Why you didn't talk to me one-on-one? And I'm like, okay, Drew, like you speaking the truth. Like, I can't, honestly, that's exactly how I feel. And so, Sanya's not really receptive of it. And Drew tells her she's clout chasing. In other words, what she's saying, and I think it completely in a sense, I feel like Sanya thought maybe she was trying to like come out. I think what she's saying is like, girl, you're trying to impress these girls. You trying to fit in with these girls, and I see what's going on. And she takes offense to it. She says, girl, I'm a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. I am the clout. In other words, you know that Housewives has 4 is the key word. There were 4 degrees. There was 4 homes. There was 4 gold medalists. 4 languages. I'm so tired of number 4, but it seems like the Housewives do things in 4. So I want to ask y'all, what did y'all think about how Drew threw that in there? Because she tried to mask it as a little shade. And at that moment, I was like, Drew, girl, this is not the time for shade. The girl already don't really care for you like that. But Jasmine.
Honey, so, and what else is going on? And I said it, what else? That's how I feel about it. And like at the end of the day, like I just feel like that's Drew's time. Like if he fucking with somebody, then they got the right to keep on being shady. So I think it was a good slide in. And it tickled me that Kenya kind of like called her out on that shit. It was funny to me, that little banter. So I enjoyed it. Like I think that Drew has the right to be shady like everybody else in the group.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, I agree. I think it was a good slide in there. I do wish the amount was more than $25. I wish it was like, oh, you owe him $225 or something, but it was like $25. But then Sanya's reasoning for not paying it was like, oh, well, you never sent the contact X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. I didn't buy it. I was okay with the shade. I didn't mind it because that's what these girls do. Even in regards to the whole, clout chasing, I took that as Sanya was to me, she did look at the girls with the most followers and say, okay, I want you guys to be a part of this. I don't necessarily have to have Drew, who don't even barely has 500,000 followers. I want to look at Kenya, who got over 2 million. I want to look at Kandi, who has over 9 million. So, I mean, even if she was clout chasing, it was a smart move on her behalf because a lot more people was going to see her stuff as opposed to if she went with Drew and Sheree or something like that. But I'm okay with the kind of the jabs that Drew gave her at the table. I was okay with that. And I love that. I love when people, like Kandi said, bossed up, and she kind of let her know, I don't have to clout chase, even though I believe she was. And, she kind of did her mic drop moment. I was okay with Sanya.
Was it a mic drop moment, though? Because coming from, it's Derek, but your sunflower son, I'll put it back on the screen, says, and Kenya and the rest acting like what Sanya said was golden. I didn't really find it to be much of a, I was just
Me neither.
Okay.
I think it was good for Sanya.
She wanted a cookie.
She wanted some jerk chicken.
We can get some oxtail, and she gets enough.
I just did the thing was like when I watched the clips because the clip came out last week, and I think he said, Derek said, Kenya, especially Kenya, face was like, well, all right, girl, all right. I'm like, girl, don't give her all that because what y'all doing is y'all feeding into what Drew basically said. She clearly wants to be she want to be the it girl within this crowd, and so it makes her look like that. I wish they would have been like, okay, well, congratulations.
But even Marlo was like, oh yeah, girl, on the side, and Marlo is the one that actually said,
we're gonna talk about Marlo.
That Sanya was
we're gonna talk about Marlo. Demetria, what's your thoughts on this?
To be honest with you, I'm really sick of this whole thing. Like, I really don't even care about it anymore. It's just like, girl, it is what it is. Drew's whack. She's lame. She's cringy. We get it. Like, Sonya, girl, I do think it was unnecessary to bring up the little $25 thing. But like they said, it was a good shade, I guess, for the moment in time, being whatever. Because Sonya was like, she was coming for her. And so that's really all I got to say about that. Honestly, I'm sick of her and Drew. Really.
I think your headset, one of them is sound a little muffled. Yeah. Maybe try to figure out what's, but it sounds a little muffled on audio. But I agree. I'm kind of sick of it as well. How do y'all? So to Charles' comment, how do y'all feel about Sanya having all the smoke for Marlo? Let me say all the smoke for Drew, but nothing for Marlo.
Again, I agree with Charles. I agree because at the end of the day, that was in front of your mama. Now we talking about last week. I think when we were talking about that, we was like, it was disrespectful for her to bring up the little dick comment, like the Viagra comments and stuff. Well, I felt like it was disrespectful to call that woman's child not child, grown ass woman, but her daughter a bitch in her face. So I like Marlo this season. That might be the only one with that type of feeling, but I do think that she was disrespectful for calling her a bitch like that in front of her mama.
Yeah, I think it was disrespectful, but I think it was Marlo, and being that Sanya didn't say anything back at all, even when they kind of came at her for not inviting them, and she ready to beat Drew ass because Drew said she owed somebody $25 for some makeup. It just goes to show, like what Cortez said, Sanya want to be with the It Girl crew, so she'll let them run over her in the hopes that they'll finally accept her in.
It's sad.
It's quite try to give Drew that smoke anytime she can.
A 4-time gold limit, especially Jamaica. Ain't no way in the world I would be sitting there doing all that just to be liked. I mean, come on. I mean, she already is liked enough. I mean, you ain't gotta do it. You ain't gotta do a whole lot.
Right.
And then I felt like giving that medal away. Like she didn't give it to nobody to keep, but I felt like, oh my god,
that was stupid.
Dumb as hell. Like I was like, girl, and then Marlo was like, oh damn, I guess we don't get to hold it no more. Girl, she just got that to just say like, honey, boo boo, click clack, and put it back in her shit. So
now, after all this happens, and first of all, Sanya's mother is also very annoying as well. Beautiful, very annoying.
Very.
Like, sit back. Mama Joyce very annoying as well, but we know that already. So Drew finds a way to get herself out the hot seat, and she throws Kenya in the hot seat by saying that she felt the way about the vibrated panties to Kandi. And I've seen a lot of dialogue about this because, Kandi seems to have an issue for years now when people don't like to be as sexual or have the same sexual mind as she has. Yeah. And so she tends to fire back and bring up people's past and what they've done to justify why they should be okay with her sexual, her level of confidence as it relates to being sexual. And I just feel like, me personally, I'm gonna give my opinion. It makes Kandi look a little weird because I mean, at the end of the day, like, I get it. Yes, Kenya was chocolate last year, and yes, she may have been in the damn movie back in the 90s or whatever it was. But if somebody say they're not comfortable with it, then that's just what it is. That's just very clear. And I think when you continue to push somebody to do something like that, it makes you look a little weird as well. Yeah. But I want to hear y'all thoughts on this because I mean, Kandi was really upset. Like she's really upset, and she kind of in her confessional, she confirmed basically what Marlo said as well, that Kenya was a hoe in the 90s. Yep. And I was just like, oh, all right, this whole word is being thrown around a lot this season. So what are y'all thoughts? Go ahead, Antonio.
I couldn't believe that Kandi kind of said that about Kenya, about, oh, we heard about your past, because everybody's heard about Kandi's past since like she's been on the show. So that was kind of odd that she would actually say that, especially since she takes so much offense to people calling her a whore, saying she used to be a whore. That's A. Number two, Mama Joyce is the only one that's in charge of her vagina, is what she said. Bagina, vagina. She should have been asked to leave. And in regards to her bringing up people's past, we've seen that before. Whereas when Nene did want a dildo up her ass today, Kandi then went and was like, "Oh, but you used to be a stripper." Not sure why that even mattered, but okay. And even if Kenya was in the movie twice, she played the lead, she got a check for doing that. So that was work for her. I think it would have been a bit different for Kenya and maybe even a couple of the other girls had it just been maybe the 6 of the girls there in NYC and they were having fun, buzzing each other and stuff like that. I think it would have been a bit more fun for Kenya, but because it was like the guys were there and one remote could control any of those underwear, I think that's where she kind of felt a little freaked out, and rightfully so. You don't want somebody else's husband buzzing your vagina.
Correct.
Yep.
Jasmine?
I do think that Kandi gets frustrated. Like even in that moment, she was like, "Oh, y'all got my blood pressure high." Like, come on, girl, goddamn. Like, I feel as though when it comes to, sorry about that. When it comes to like the Kenya situation with it, like I just feel like they like the bigger, like that fight reminded me of when Kenya did that thing to like the engagement for Cynthia. Like they're bickering to me. I think they do have a good friendship, but I think that Kenya should have been said whatever she felt before she done spread it out, gave it to Drew to drop the bomb and all that stuff. I think that was a good segue for Drew. She was like, there's too much shit on me. Bow. Let me throw that back on y'all. Let's talk about some more shit. So I was glad that she's like, I feel like Drew's starting to be able to move, like learn how to move. And like she might be fumbling like a deer, like a baby deer right now. But when she gets her legs straight, I think she's gonna be cool. That's just my opinion.
Okay, let me see.
I personally, is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I personally feel like Kandi was more so like annoyed at the fact that one, Kenya didn't probably, like you said, come to her about it. She went to, everybody else in the group. And then two, it's just like at the same time, like it really wasn't like a big deal. Kenya didn't want to do it. She didn't do it. So like, what's all this like fuss about? You didn't want to participate. You didn't participate. So it's just like, why are we going around the group making this like somewhat of an issue when it really doesn't have to be one? But I do understand where y'all coming from. Like, Kandi, girl, if somebody has something to say about you or feel a type of way about you, then they are valid to those feelings. Yeah. And you can't get mad about that because you have no problem calling anybody else out. So what's...
Yeah.
Don't you think it's funny that Mama Joyce, when she first got on the show, you remember when, what's that long dick dude?
Ridiculous.
I'm like, yeah, so ridiculous. And she was like spazzing the fuck out, like she was mad as hell. But now she's like, Mama Joyce gets on my nerves. Like, I understand it was just like I mean, Ken, don't come for me, But Mama Joyce gets on my nerves by the way she just kind of just throws her stuff and stuff because it just can be so flip floppy. At the end of the day, Kandi does overdo it with the sex stuff sometimes. But I get the thoughts of it, the couples thing. But everybody wasn't a couple. Now, mind you, everybody did say that they was bringing that man beforehand. I want to make that clear. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't.
It was inappropriate for stuff like that. I mean, the fact that she should have made sure she knew that shit was. She probably knew it was called. Right. Worth to call people. Like, she should have checked that. I mean, come on, that's just.
Yeah, and honestly, Kandi knows that Kenya don't got a man, Marlo don't got a man. So honestly, to be real, she shouldn't have even played the game, period. Knowing that it wasn't, other guys there with the single ladies. Like, you got 3 other women here that don't even have nobody with them. We all know that Tyrone wasn't showing up. So, I mean, she just shouldn't have did it, to me.
So
and then all this would be solved.
Her thing to?
You said who?
Who did Sheree give her thing to? Because she said she
left it upstairs.
She said it didn't work. She said it didn't work.
Hers wasn't working.
She said something when it was. She had her. What did she have her panties on? But she had her panties on. She didn't have a remote. Okay,
right.
Okay.
Because she said she didn't think hers was working. I don't think she had the damn panties on. And one more thing, real quick. Them mamas, they got the right group of people because the way Sanya's mama had kind of came at Drew, and then when Kenya just kind of laughed at Mama Joyce, I guess she's gotten used to her over the years. Yeah, don't think if I'm sitting at a table with you and your mama that she gonna be able to like comfort me in that manner. I'm talking to 3 people up here and the people in the motherfucking chat. I'm gonna check her ass.
Honey, I don't talk to mamas. I don't talk to mamas. Like, please. No.
All right, let's move on. Let's move to the next part. We got a couple of things to talk about too. So we get a scene with Sheree. Who was he to her? Like a counselor, therapist? Who was he?
He's like a life coach.
A life coach. Okay, and I want to ask y'all, what the hell do y'all think he was trying to tell her or portray to her? Because he kept talking about, there's this vision and this woman and she's on TV. And I was waiting on him to bring it around town like SpongeBob, but I was confused on where he was going. But what I think I got from it, you tell me what y'all got from it. Was he basically saying that he was using her because she was a public figure?
That's what I got. That he was using her. He kind of seen this person on TV and he like, oh, that's the person I want. But now since he out, he don't really want her no more.
And then he started. Then it went to he in jail, jacking off.
That's when I said.
I said.
I'm like, where are they getting these life coaches and these counselors and therapists? What happened to the man that needed to go get his license?
Where is Dr. Jill?
Where is he?
I asked
I was lost.
I actually like that particular one too because he's been on the show with her before, but blew me. That blew me. Like I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. I mean, once you get over years, maybe you get comfortable. You talk about coochie diggling like that with your therapist, but I don't talk about them like. I mean, I talk about my coochie diggling with other people, but I don't talk about diggling with each other. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Do y'all think he gave us some good fair advice or something she could? Because she says that she's not. She don't really know if she done with it. I'm just like, girl, at this point, you know what? Honestly, the life coach is making it seem like he was using her for as an opportunity. I think she was using him to get on the damn show because that's her true way to get some kind of interest. Outside of that, there was nothing else going on with her. I mean, you got to have some kind of love interest or marriage nowadays, right? And they're not just bringing Claudia Jordans back no more. You got to have something going on with somebody, typically.
Okay.
And so I don't know, but any thoughts on that scene?
I didn't have any thoughts on it at all because I fast forwarded through it. So
I think he should have been a bit more. He should have been upfront with her. Sheree ain't the smartest, brightest crayon in the box. So even though she was acting like she understood, this shit was going on.
She was. For me, I was like, she a little slow. I was like, no, she ain't slow. He just. She
ain't the brightest crayon in the box. He should have been like, hey sis. I don't think he wants you no more. I think you need to like gather your feelings and move the fuck on. That's what he should have said.
I mean, Renee was already outside in the cold. She already was outside in the cold. So it's like at this point, let her know, find out a way to get her to at least think about getting away from the man, because her mind is still at this moment on Tyrone.
Y'all, Chase called that man Dunny McClurkin. I cannot.
He did call Dunny McClurkin.
Who's Dunny McClurkin?
The gospel singer.
Oh, we found out. Okay, my bad.
So let's talk about this part. This is the part I've been waiting to talk about since I watched the episode. So Marlo, she has Le Archive, and she also has this foundation called Glam It Up, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Glam It Up, Glam Up, whatever. Boss Up, Sum Up, basically where she helps give back to those who are less fortunate. And in doing so, her vision is that she's giving them designers and labels. She's glamming them up, because when she was in foster care, she did not have the luxury. She got a lot of hand-me-downs, and it didn't make her feel any kind of way. So she talks about it, in which I think she does a great job of explaining it in the confessional. Keep that noted right there. Mm-hmm. But when we get a scene of Kandi, and Kandi is she's going through her clothes. First of all, Kandi ain't got no style. Let's just be very clear. I don't know, baby. Tag's Boutique has been open for 50 years, and I can't tell you one nice thing that has come from that store. But
I forgot she even had a store.
But she's going through her things, and she's trying to find out what to give. And apparently, Marlo calls. She tells Marlo, and Marlo corrects her and lets her know that it needs to be brand new items. And so, Marlo in her confessional talks about how she can't believe that Kandi will be trying to give old hand-me-downs and stuff like that. And like, that's not what her foundation's about. And so I want to know, what are y'all thoughts on this whole thing? It comes back up later, but Marlo is basically upset. She feels like Kandi is not being a good friend by giving these hand-me-downs, and she feels like it's understood what her foundation and what her organization is.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
I just want to say, in quoting Kandi, she gets on my motherfucking nerves. Marlo is full of shit, like for real. Like that, like pissed me off for real, because I wasn't in like the foster care or anything like that, but in my younger days, I was bad in school and stuff like that. So I went to like group homes and stuff like that. And I was fortunate because I had a mom, but it was other kids that were not fortunate and didn't have any parents. And when people would bring stuff up there to them and stuff like that, they were grateful. They didn't care about it being name brand new. They were just glad to have some damn clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just feel like Marlo got the wrong idea to be trying to run a non-profit organization. That in the words of the housewife, that was like triggering to me. I really hated that. And if Kandi is giving clothes, even though she don't got no style, I'm sure that a lot of those clothes probably hadn't even been worn. If they were worn, maybe once, twice at the most. And I'm sure they were probably name brand. They were probably like from Gucci and, Neiman Marcus and stuff like that. So it's just like Marlo to say something like that, like, girl, no, that's like not the move at all. Period.
Okay. That's fair. Who want to go there? Antonio, Jasmine, whoever?
I definitely do want to just go there. I really do appreciate you saying that, but what's your name? Demetrio, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I really do appreciate you saying that, Demetrio, because there are different sides to it all. Like, I grew up in a struggle with hardships and adversities as well, till probably high school and stuff like that. So I've seen both sides of coming up and all being. I myself, I don't know if I've expressed that to you guys in the group me or whatever, but I am looking into being a foster parent. And I have looked into it. That's why I'm trying to move, to make sure that when I move, I have those regulations and things like that. So what I have learned is, and what I know just by being in shelters myself, is that those kids, they do travel with bags on their bags, and sacks and things like that. I understood Marlo. And honestly, most people might not think that on the phone that she expressed herself correctly, but I think she did. I think for Marlo, I think she did express herself. What I do understand is that hand-me-downs, they might not be seen as, bad, a negative connotation, but if a child has been tossed around from foster home to foster home since they were 5 till they was 10, then they have some overlapping of not having the necessities that they need in the foster care system. They don't even really take, I guess, against the rules in some of them to take used clothes. You get a stipend every summer, spring, whatever the hell Sheree said.
Yeah.
But a stipend, and you have that to buy clothes, and you also get the amount of the money to feed them and do other extra shit with them. I definitely understood where she came from, because at the end of the day, kids and self-esteem, it can go hand in hand. It can be detrimental. It could be uplifting. People have killed themselves because somebody has bullied them because they got on Ivories instead of Jordans. Dumb as shit, but that has happened. So I understood where she came from, because half of them are 16. The ones that 16, 17 years old, what clothes? They didn't even get to go to prom. It's not about Gucci and Gabbana. It's not about, not Gucci, Dolce and Gabbana. It's not about Gucci. It's not about none of that shit. It's not about Gucci and Gabbana. I said Gucci and Gabbana, my bad. But it's not about none of that shit. It's really like going to Walmart, Target, Kohl's, TJ Maxx, getting some shit. And
Ross.
Ross, you know what I'm saying? I think that Marlo being who she is, it was already taken as, bitch, she want these motherfuckers to wear some Coach and some Dooney and Burke and all that stuff. No, I think she just wanted new clothes. And I really just wanted to say that, because I really think Marlo got a bad rap for that. But I understood it, because I had been looking into that shit. So.
Okay, Tonio.
I understand Marlo's point, but I feel like, and I even watched a bit that the clip of Kandi where her and the person was talking, and she was like, I wasn't trying to give them the stuff that me and Todd was going through. She was like, I was trying to separate, some of the stuff that could be reused with the stuff that I wouldn't give away, or whatever the case may be. So I personally, I don't think it was anything wrong with Marlo saying, I want my girls to have new stuff. Okay, cool. It's your foundation. You set the rules, but just make sure that those rules are clear, so that no one is calling you and saying, hey, I have these bags of clothes that I've only worn once. Can you, or can I donate them to your girls? Put out that you only want, you need new clothes for girls these ages and these sizes, or that you only want monetary donations, so that you can then, or whoever is over your organization can then take those donations and go and buy these girls new clothes. I think when it gets to a point of where she's saying it's so big, I agree. So I think it was Charles or someone that made a comment and said, well, she needs to try and work on some type of a partnership with like a Target or something like that. But even with that, I just don't, because she didn't make mention of, you can go to, she didn't say that. So I would be interested to see, where does she want these new clothes to come from?
Yes.
Well, this is so here's my theory. Personally, I think all of this happened real time, and then when it got time for the confessionals, Marlo was able to clean up her answer, her response, and her explanation of what it actually what she wanted from them, to make it seem like Kandi didn't abide by it. And I'm here for Marlo. However, I think it's a pattern that it seems like she has a hard time, explaining her vision and what she wants for her organization's business, nonprofits, whatever. We saw it with Lit Archive. I feel like with Lit Archive, she kind of was fumbling on what the hell it was. And I think since we've seen Marlo on this show for about 50,000 years, and I've never heard of Glam It Up. I know that she has a piece now, but we've never really heard of it before. And so I feel like, honestly, I don't think Kandi had an issue with buying new stuff, but I feel like there may have been a disconnect in the communication in which she told them what she wanted, and then when she didn't get it, what she expected, I think that's when she was able to turn around on Kandi. And then I saw a comment from Chase that said, why does every time something happened, like Marlo questions friendship? I found it kind of odd that she questioned like her being a good friend based off of that. Because I don't honestly. I mean, Kandi is, she's very, stingy a little bit with some of her money, but at the same time, I don't think she would have a problem buying new stuff.
Right.
Because what I think would happen is that if she did buy stuff from Target, then Marlo would come back and be like, "Girl, this supposed to be from Nordstrom and Neiman." I feel like it would always be a problem.
Right.
Yeah. Marlo would be like, "Girl, you worth $40 million. Why you going to Target and my girl stuff? You don't buy Riley stuff from Target."
And you can't do that.
I feel like Marlo wanted.
That's not how you run a nonprofit and a charity. You make.
But I don't think we can say that without it being something like when it comes to something like that. Unless that has happened, I don't think we should be able to assume what she might say because if she
Marlo wants an issue with Kandi, and this
I was just going to say that.
I am loving Marlo this season. However, you can look at these things and see that she's trying to. Marlo has always had an issue with Kandi. Let's not act like it's this season. She's always found a way to poke at Kandi since season 4. So in this moment, I mean, it was going to always be something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just want Marlo to really shut Kandi up. Is to really be clear on what she wants. Versus having all these unrealistic expectations for Kandi because they ain't really friends like that. Your friend was Nene. Let's just be clear. Yeah. Your friend was never really Kandi. So I don't, y'all may have scenes together, but that's not your friend. Like that's really not.
I just feel like, sorry.
No, you can go.
I was just gonna say because I'm not making excuses for Marlo, but Marlo's been the same person since she started. Now she's had levels of growth which we have seen and we appreciate, but if we have let people be themselves, it's like people have, like when it comes to Kenya, people might not agree with me, but Kenya was just like to me, Sanya and Drew. She's no different to me than them because how she started on the show, she was clout chasing, she wanted to go for Nene, she wanted to go for Sheree, she came in all these people without being warranted. So if we have taken the time out to let Kenya grow and be the person that's laughing at the shade now, I just feel like we should give that same grace to Marlo and get to know her because at the end of the day, she's a sensitive person. We could tell she was sensitive from the damn shit and all that stuff. So it's not like letting her get away with stuff, but she's clearly like she has a lot of issues, like not even mental. I'm not trying to be funny on that shit, but she's had a lot of like deep shit, like cutting a bitch committing suicide, all that weird shit. She has different levels of trauma than most of them do, and I think they need to be a little bit more, have a little bit more grace for her. But that's just my opinion.
Grace for
Marlo.
Yeah, I just feel like for her to try to say Kandi was a bad friend for that, it's just like Kandi, you have to call you. She didn't have to think about giving nothing to those girls. And then to top it off, it's just like this is Kandi we're talking about. We're not talking about, not saying that we're regular people, but like we're average, normal, working Americans. Kandi, like I said, her clothes, 9 times out of 10, a lot of that stuff is probably name brand, probably very much expensive, even though it may not be everybody's taste. I can guarantee you a lot of the stuff that was in those suitcases and bags she was trying to give away cost some money, honey, that I know I can't probably afford. So it's just like, girl, you just...
But she didn't even see the bag, so it's not even... She didn't see the bag of clothes. She didn't know which clothes was in the bag.
It's probably the clothes, probably in the pool. Probably the Tide pool. You know how that shit that was in the pool?
Yes.
On the episode?
They was dragging. I mean, she didn't see the clothes in the bag, so it's not like she was looking like, "Girl, we don't want that shit."
Chase.
She didn't say that. She just said she didn't want to take used clothes, and that's a rule. And I just feel like
I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah. I just wish that she would have left it at that and allowed Kandi to provide more, but to constantly go on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's just like
okay, to the lunch and everything.
Yeah, like it got to be. That's the whole storyline. Now we are talking about charities. You know, one thing is Housewives should always go down for charities on these shows. Like that's what people go, ooh, because money is where not paying folks and not paying charities or whatever. Not giving. That's where shit go left. So kudos to Marlo for knowing how to get shit started. I'm gonna say for those that saying she's keeping Kandi working, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree with what Chase said. If you're gonna make Kandi work, at least make it make sense. At least make it a real issue instead of just petty nonsense that you got going on.
So you don't think that was a real issue?
No,
no, it shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't be.
She should not have took that and took it to lunch. Come on now, Jazz.
No, she shouldn't. I don't think that she should have said that she wasn't a good friend. But that's why I just be saying that they don't take the time out to talk to Marlo in different ways. That's why I said that just need I don't know how to explain it because
But
she has just been having she always a defense. Yeah. She's always defense, and she never really has a chance to be.
Well, let's come back to this topic when we get to the actual lunch table because it comes back up. So there's a scene in between this the bags and stuff like that, and then the lunch scene, which is with Kenya and Sheree. Not a lot happened, but basically Kenya is talking to Sheree about the whole glam and not coming to her, pick me up party that's what they had for Sheree. And Sheree says in the confession that she believes that Kenya, was sick or whatever. And Kenya is just basically saying like Marlo is doing this, and I'm kind of getting sick of her. So I guess this is where because they've been kind of playing nice nasty all season, but it maybe from this point on it's going to actually escalate to where they just kind of like stop giving each other a chance. But what have y'all talked about Kenya's wigs this season?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Kenya hair has been such a mess this season. I don't know what
has had no hair care this year because I don't know.
Her hair was so pretty when she was talking to with Drew.
That was one of the one times I've seen it this season where I liked it. That in the very first episode when she had it just in the slick back ponytail.
Yeah.
But I guess we've also never seen her just wear whole out wigs either. Like before, I guess she was wearing wigs, but some of her real hair would be out. I've never really seen her throughout seasons wear, the closure.
Even the hair from wait a minute, was this one? Was she at the wig? No, that was the end. Okay, never mind. That was the other one. The little curls, the
little ponytail with Sheree, cute.
Okay. Did y'all have any thoughts on this scene between Sheree and her? I'm curious to know. It seems like they're trying to patch up their friendship in this scene, but I mean, a lot of damage has been done because Sheree was clearly co-signing with this lady telling her that she was a hoe last week. So I'm curious to know. And Kenya, y'all saw, made a post about some snakes or somebody like being like a sneaky person, and I don't think she was talking about Sheree. I don't think she was talking about Marlo because she already knows.
She kind of addressed that Sheree co-signed and Marlo. She addressed it on Watch What Happens Live last night too, and she said she did reach out to Sheree and kind of called Sheree on it, and Sheree pretty much was like, "Girl, I don't even really remember saying that. I just don't remember." That's what she said about Sheree.
TKC, I am sick of this pity party for Sheree. At this point, girl, move on. She don't want to move on.
Yeah, because I don't believe that storyline. No way. I think it's all bullshit.
I
think she always knew Tyrone wasn't coming. Why you going a couple of hours down the street and you ain't talked to the person all day that ain't answering your calls, but you still gonna go anyway?
She didn't talk to him all day. I thought she said she talked to him that morning. That's wild. She didn't talk to him all day. I really thought I heard her say she talked to him that morning. From then on, she didn't hear from him since. But if she wrote down
talked to him when she was in the car, I don't think she had talked to him. No.
I don't remember her talking to him.
Oh Lord, I thought she talked to him before she got on the road. I thought she said that, but that's sad.
But even if she would have talked to him that one time that morning, like he knew that she was supposed to be coming, and y'all ain't texting no more since then. Y'all ain't talked or nothing.
Yeah, I think
that'll be a little weird if I didn't hear from somebody. I mean,
and I'm supposed to be meeting you later on today, and we ain't talked but once in the morning. Like no. Like if I'm going out with somebody, I'm taking like what you wearing throughout the day. Like what do I need to dress up or catch? Like you have these conversations when you went out with people. But I did like that scene for what it was worth. Like them talking about the struggling of being Black business women and stuff like that. That was cute. But
I don't think it was a struggle of being Black business women. I think it was a struggle of them not putting together a good team for themselves.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if that's like really consider a struggle or them just getting into something and not really knowing what the fuck is going on and not educating themselves prior to. Sheree has had 14 years to really get She by Sheree together, and it's still struggling. Leave it where it says.
She by. I think that is the finale. I think the finale is her She by Sheree lunch party, right, or something like that. So I guess they're getting it started for us to get ready for that. So we'll move to this last scene, which they go to. I love that restaurant. It was what's it called in Atlanta? Five
Church. I love that restaurant too.
I've been there for brunch. Lovely place, huh?
That lamb burger is so good.
It looked like the food did look good. I said I was gonna have to go there next time I go back to Atlanta.
Yeah. So they meet up there. Everybody's there except for Kandi. Candy's in LA doing something. She's filming something.
She's on
Oh,
she's on the show. Yeah, on All Black. Yeah,
she's on that show. And this, drop it with Drew. I'm gonna say this. Drew needs to learn her body type, I feel. Because I didn't really find the dress to be that flattering. Like, nothing's wrong with her body, but I think that for what she had on, I didn't find it to be that flattering. And that goes right along with the waitress. The waitress too, she could learn the same thing. But Marlo said it was cute. But upon arrival, Drew and Sanya are being fake. I think that's so awkward for them to be like, "Can I hug?" Hey, I'm like, y'all are acting like y'all have a really deep issue, and it's really not that deep. But hey, that's what y'all wanted to look like. Sure, you would think they've been arguing for seasons the way they act like, "Can I give you a hug?" So they get there. Marlo gets there, and the first thing she's talking about the thing with her sister. Apparently, she has a phone call set up with her sister to talk to her nephews to try to get her to get into what was that? Get into
like a rehabilitation program.
Rehab. So she talks about that, and we're gonna get that final scene at the end. Kenya shows up. She is sick still, whatever, coughing and stuff like that. I don't know if she playing at this point. I don't know if she milking it to kind of make it seem like Marlo is wrong. But hey, she's sick. Sheree gets there. She don't want to hug Sheree. She's doing all that. And the first thing they start talking about is basically Marlo brings up what I talked about Kandi giving these hand-me-downs for this foundation. Kenya takes the side of Kandi and is basically saying like, you should never villainize a person for, giving items or whatever. It shouldn't be about, monetary value and what it is. It should be about the cause or whatever. And they kind of get into it a little bit based off of it and they talk about their friendship. How did y'all feel about the whole dialogue between them two? Because it's like they kind of building up what their little issue is, but honestly, we talked about the situation with Kandi and the hand-me-downs, and the fact that Kenya aligns with Kandi is not surprising. But any thoughts on that?
I just feel like I agree with what Kenya said. Like, that shouldn't even be like what's important here. This is a nonprofit for people who are less fortunate. Like, let's get back to the bigger picture. Like, you're trying to make a problem about something that doesn't really even have to be a problem to begin with. Like, it's just so unnecessary and just typical of Marlo.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that I think, like I say, I'm gonna stand on it. Marlo's rules was Marlo's rules. I think that Kenya could have benefited from asking her why she felt like that or getting more information on it. But I do think that the conversation could have probably ended with I don't think that it should be connected to Kandi's friendship. Like she probably didn't know, maybe trying to turn the conversation that way. But I just think that Kenya was just taking up for Kandi. But I also think that she took up for her blindly as well. So that's just going to be.
Yeah, Taylor says Kenya only aligned with Kandi because she's mad at Marlo. So you don't think that she actually felt that way? Do you think that she would have been more like, oh, if she wasn't feuding with Marlo?
That's why I said she just did it blindly.
I don't think she did that because she was mad at Marlo, because Kenya didn't have the best childhood either.
Yeah.
And she was raised by her grandmother. So I'm sure there were times where Kenya went to school in hand-me-downs or Goodwill clothes, and she probably was picked on as well. So I do think she could understand where Marlo was coming from. It just wasn't making sense to her that Marlo felt the need to bring in an attempt to vilify Kandi or make Kandi look like a bad person for trying to give hand-me-downs. But again, no one is saying anything about Marlo's rules, but Marlo needs to make sure that her rules are in place, that everyone knows her rules prior to attempting to help her out. That's all.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to say earlier too. Kandi probably wasn't looking at it like how this hand-me-downs like that. She probably was like, this is a non-profit organization. I have these clothes that I haven't really probably ever even worn or probably never even touched, to be, if we want to be real. So she probably was just thinking like, she got a charity, let me just get these clothes wear instead of probably throwing them away or something like that. Because that's what most famous people do. They probably wear something one time, probably buy it, never touch it, and they sit there for months and months and months at times. And that's just what it is. I think she was looking that deep into it and all that. She just thought that would be a good thing to do. And here go Marlo trying to make it into something that it didn't have to be.
But then right after that, she did, kind of move from that, and they went from that issue to their own individual issue with the glam, and I mean, Marlo just basically said like she's full of shit, and that she just still don't believe her, that she could have came, and they kind of get on a subject about friendships, and Sheree finds a moment to say, yeah, Kandi hasn't been a good friend to me either. I just feel like she could have came to me for this. She could have been there more supportive. At this point, I'm like, okay, Sheree, I don't think you're really thinking from your own brain. I feel like somebody or Marlo is talking for you because
absolutely.
I think y'all said it last week. I don't think Sheree and Kandi have that much of a friendship. Like they use this word friend a lot this season.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call this the real friends of Atlanta because they act like they are like besties, and nobody on this cast are besties. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that on this cast are like good. Yes, I think a few of them are. I think a few of them are good associates, but I don't think.
But they keep trying to stress friend. I was friend should do this. And speaking of friends, that's how we get to Drew and Sanya. Now this was weird. I don't know what was going on. It was a lot going on, but I will say somebody said it earlier that Drew knows how to argue to make you want a fighter. Mm-hmm. Drew is a weird, funny person to argue with because her faces.
Drew be like.
But she
yes, Tony.
But she reminds me not of myself in a sense, but like I'm very expressive with my face, and so it would piss people off because. Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna say this: that pisses people off because they read your face, they know that you don't agree with what they're saying.
Right.
You don't give a fuck about what they're saying, and I'm sorry, that's a them problem. Like she said, I think that is a you problem. But I mean, other folks think differently. But Sanya versus Drew, like, what y'all think, Chad? They got Drew. They moving Drew's chair.
That tickled me.
They were very close. But I was hollering when she was scooting that chair over though, because she was like, "Baby, drop it with Drew. Scoot with Drew. Scoot with Drew." She was
so cute with that dress and her little bob. I'm sorry, I like Drew.
And
I thought Drew was a very pretty girl. I thought she looked pretty, but yeah, that dress wasn't the best.
I just thought, her little titties. Excuse me, we on that today, but
her nipples was poking too.
I thought it was.
Now let me say this though, right quick. Head to toe, I loved what Sheree had on. She was kind of giving me something with that dress and those like comeback boots. I had loved that. But outside of that, Sanya and Drew, it's very odd because Sanya was like, talking to her Jamaican voice, like, yo, thank you for the chicken and blah, blah, blah. And then she like was ready to punch Drew upside the motherfucking head. I didn't really understand why she went from 0 to, like Drew said, 20 million in a matter of seconds. And I get it that Drew was making those faces. And it seems like to me, Drew is going to keep doing that all season because she even did it at the dinner and the girl mentioned it. She's still doing it. Drew's now doing it because she knows that it hurts Sanya. I don't think she's doing it
intentionally. I think she's truly looking at Sanya like, bro, you are weird. Like, what the? Like, what is? That's what she said. She was like, bro, like, whoa. She is the face when like I can't help but laugh, and it's pissing Sanya off because it's like, when you argue with somebody, you kind of expect them to be arguing with you, but she's not really arguing. She's like looking at you like she's gaslighting in a sense of like, why are you mad? But honestly, we don't know why she's mad.
That's why it's really not gaslighting.
It ain't gaslighting because like we people are watching the show and we're like, bro, why are you mad? We're confused.
Where's it coming from?
Mad, ready to punch the girl. Yeah,
I agree with you though. Like I don't think Drew's doing that on purpose. Because if you really go back to the last season, she did it then. Like she just one of those type of people when she's like in conversations. I'm like that too. Like when I've been in conversations before, and I'm like this type of person too. Like I have like a lot of facial expressions. Like my friends ask me all the time, like, "Why is you doing all that? Like, is you mad or something?" It's like, I mean, no, I'm just talking to you, but you can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are if you express like that, that's just who you are. It's just that simple.
The thing about Cortez Cortez, what people didn't like about Cortez, what he would be smiling, not like didn't like about Cortez, but he would be like, he doesn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? He would make people irritated, but it was in situations that we supposed to be doing that. But
not dancing, bringing up my past.
And I'm just saying, not didn't like about Cortez, but I get that, like that brought up some stuff. Like people love Cortez, like everyone loves Cortez. He's friendly, he's a very great person. But when we was in those type of situations, he would have to be stern, and he would just be very like just laughing that shit off. Yeah. So I just feel like, with Drew, I make facial expressions too. Like I just got checked for my facial expressions when recently. So I'm just at a point like recently. So so I'm just like, I just don't really. I think Sanya is the whole argument's doing too much.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just not nowhere
really
near.
Not that serious.
When arguing with somebody, I'm sorry, a person doesn't have to give you much of any attention. Let's just be clear. If I'm arguing with you,
and that's what's pissing her off.
And I want to say that Drew is not taking her serious.
Yeah.
And Sanya is dead ass seriously mad at something.
Yeah.
And Drew is confused on what. So it's just like, what are you, bro? It's like, bro. So
I think also not only is Drew confused on what Sanya's mad at, I think Sanya's a bit confused on what she's mad at because she hasn't been able to articulate it for 3 episodes now. And I agree with I hope that Drew continues to make faces. I want Drew to make faces at not only Sanya, but I also want Drew to make faces at her mama as well.
Yeah, I want to say it's a small world. It's a small world one. That is very true. I am Jamaican, I'm Creole. I have very much spice, and I have to sometimes be more self-aware of myself because it's not that we get loud, but we get loud. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about, girl? Okay, where am I? You know what I'm saying? We get loud. So, but it's like when we get a little bit energetic. So I'm just letting you know, like we get that loud. But no, we get energetic and stuff like that. But I thought she was coming up to 40. But so she should be more self-aware. I'm 34 and I'm self-aware. I have to really bite my tongue at work. I have to bite my tongue at the lean. I have to bite my I have to bite my tongue everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I just it's but we can't make excuses about it being like Jamaican and stuff like that because at the very end of the day, that girl hasn't done nothing to you. Like,
and she's older than you, Jasmine.
Thank you. But, she's looking like a clout chaser, and actually, you know what I'm saying, I really think that since everybody likes her, like you said, she's really heavy. Like I think we said that earlier, everybody likes her, so they're not really giving her what they're supposed to be giving somebody that's doing it on that show, and it's not fair.
Yeah,
and I agree with what Taylor just posted as well. Like not everybody has ran track and won Olympic medals and stuff like that. We're not gonna act like Drew ain't got a resume now. We not gonna act like that. Like she may not be invited to the motherfucking Oscars, but the girl that did some shit. I was flipping through the TV today, and she was on some damn movie. Now I don't know the name of the movie.
At least be on Black Girls Rock.
Exactly.
So,
and her sister talking about she wasn't even melding. I'm like, girl, you live with your sister in a house with you and your husband and your kids. You don't come for what nobody has done in the past. You living with your sister right now. Shut the F up.
Yeah.
Like,
Sanya is. I'm not
read Antonio. Read.
I just think Sanya needs to come down a little bit. She's going up too high, and we don't really know her like that.
Yeah, and she done created this whole pedestal for herself, honey, and then got on this sanctimonious high horse, and we just like, girl, please come on down. And I just want to also throw this in here before we let the calls on. Marlo is so fake because she talks so much shit about Sanya on that phone with Drew.
Oh yeah, she did.
She did.
Let me get to the last scene before we talk about that. Before we close out or whatever, because I want to talk about the scene with how did y'all feel about Marlo's approach to getting her sister to rehab?
It hurt me. It really did.
I felt like in that moment, I to know people in my family that have done, and dealt with things. I felt like Marlo was doing what she thought she had to do. It's kind of like, okay, well, she won't go because I said, she won't go because the judge says it. Maybe she'll go if she see it from her kids. And that's the approach I think that she was going to. It's kind of like if this lady see her kids and they say, hey mom, go do X, Y, and Z, that way we can come see, we can have family time, we can hang out. maybe the sister will be receptive to it and say, well, you know what? I'm going to do this for my kids. Now, the thing that kind of throws me off is that her sister has kind of like mental issues or whatever. It gets a bit tricky then, but I don't fault Marlo for the route that she attempted to take to try and get that point to her.
Man, she was fighting back
And
them 2 years, honey.
Yeah.
She was fighting them 2 years, babe. You could see it. She wanted to cry, but she was trying to, I guess, hold it together for the boys, and probably because she was on camera. You know, Marlo's not one of those type of people that like probably want to like cry like that on camera like that. So it was really just a really sad scene. Honestly, I feel bad for Marlo, for real.
Yeah, I felt really like I just really was sad. Like at the end of the day, like drugs make mental illness worse.
Yeah.
So it's just a sad thing. And then being in jail, I'm glad that she's not, being off of drugs to the most that she can, because they still have drugs in jail. But at the grand scheme of it, like I felt really bad. And the kids was there. When you turn around and said, "Don't cry."
Yes. I'm going to do, for my opinion, personally, I found it to be a bit cringe, just because I just didn't think. I understand what she was trying to do in the approach, but I'm thinking about the kids. Like, it's their mom. They're traumatizing. And they're a little older. They know, but it's just like, I don't know. That's a lot to put on a kid to make to where, because think about how, like, now, of course, on the show, she declined it, right? So what if those kids feel like, well, damn, I'm not enough.
My fault.
It's my fault. I feel like that's just a lot, but I applaud her for trying to. I also think maybe she could have got an iPad or something, because a limited phone. I'm just saying. Maybe
all of that. The boys are in like it makes you think a little deeper. Like the boys are in like public school. Their peers are gonna watch that, and you know how kids can be. So
right.
I feel like it.
For that. I just felt like, when it came to, I actually didn't feel cringe. It gave me the same feeling of like the Drew situation, because some people said that Drew situation with her child and her baby daddy and stuff like that, and her child being weird and stuff to them, that was kind of like cringy too. But I didn't find it cringe. Like I agree with your Sunflower Son, baby. That was one of the most vulnerable scenes. Like it just drew me closer to Marlo, because like that trying to not cry. Like that, I related to that. Like that whole, like, okay, let me turn my face, let me just like bite my tongue, but I'm still crying. Like I feel like those children, those nephews of hers, are her soft spot. That's her. I don't want to say kryptonite, because I think that makes her stronger. But they are a good source of vulnerability for her, and it made me like her so much more after that. I don't know why, but
and it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. It seemed,
we didn't fake it all. We've seen some fake scenes. Don't open the door.
Right.
Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and let some callers on, because we've kind of gotten at the hour. I don't want Chase to get in here and cuss me out because of Kenya. Oh well. But let me put this link in here.
I do personally.
It was a good episode. I would say it was.
It was.
The season, I'm enjoying the season. I have no issues. I do think it's a lot, and honestly, it's a lot of stuff going on outside of the show. We're gonna have a reunion. Kandi and Kenya and Sheree and all of them and Marlo, to where this reunion it needs to be epic.
The reunion should be entertaining, though. This should be a.
Who y'all think gonna be next to Andy?
I think on one couch is gonna be
this, like who, like the front seat, the two. Who?
Kenya for sure.
No, I think Kandi.
You think Kandi gonna finally sit up there? Well,
Kandi has sat up there before one time.
Has she?
Season 9, yes.
Give me receipts, Antonio. Give them to me.
But no,
I think
Kandi will be beside him. Or it may be Kandi, it may be Kenya, but I'm thinking Kandi. I feel like because she's now the longest running Peach, I feel like she'll fight for that. She wants to be next to Andy.
She's been firing back online, so she's
been doing what she, what we wanted to do. And I think on the other couch, I don't think it will be Marlo. I do feel like it will be Sheree, Marlo, Sanya, Kenya or Kandi, Drew on the other couch. I do.
So you think Sheree gonna be next to Andy?
That's crazy.
Sheree kind of had a big storyline this season. Marlo did too, but Sheree's storyline with Tyrone, we know Tyrone is going to pop back up towards the end of the season as well. We know Sheree is going to fight some more with Drew this season as well, and maybe with Kandi as well. So Sheree might put in more work. It's possible. I don't see Kenya and Kandi being on separate couches because I don't know how that seating would then go with Kandi on one, Kenya on the other.
I think
I'm gonna say if they don't give Marlo, if she don't get a seat next to Andy, something ain't right. I'm just saying because
I can see Marlo getting that seat.
Marlo, if it's not against Kenya, it's gonna be against Kandi. She needs to have a seat up there, and we on episode 6 or 7. I'm just saying, Mama is whether we enjoy it or not.
Will start pulling ranks. Sheree is an OG.
But that's what it is. You got the fight and pull stuff that you earned it. Marlo earned it.
Yeah.
I feel about it.
But I think the thing is, at this point, Marlo is working Sheree. Sheree ain't working moving like an OG, and so
Sheree is moving like a newbie, like it's her first.
Very interesting reunion and seating. But I hope also that Marlo is getting her reads together. I don't want her stuttering. I don't want her list to activate. I want her to really talk.
And I hope it's themed. I hope it's themed again too. I hope it's themed.
Her list.
Like last year.
I don't want to activate because it get real watery in there.
Not there anymore. So
now Marlo got a wet mouth, child.
I mean,
every time.
Yeah, it's going to.
I mean, I can.
I'm dead. Stop it.
I agree, TKC. Sheree don't move like an OG. Sheree do move like a newbie. So Marlo could be in that front seat, but I do think Kandi will be in the other. But it could be. But I feel like it'll be.
And why them producers on the preview of next week's episode when she was talking about Kenya Beauty gonna do a zoom in on that woman ass? They are so shady.
They've been shading Kenya's ass since
Season 5.
Blow up booty. What did he used to call it?
Blow up booty made in Mexico. The booty was bought at Home Depot. They done said so much shit about Kenya.
Concrete booty.
No, submit booty.
Hard.
Yeah, it looks smaller when she gets smaller. You know, of course, when you lose, you gain weight, but she just has to be honest. I just feel like after all these years, just be honest.
Yeah, you got a BBL, girl. It's okay.
A BBL, oh, please. 1990s, they was getting concrete put in there.
Oh, nasty. Looks like we have no callers, which is fine with me, child. I would love to hear some other opinions, but if y'all don't want to give them, that's all right, child. In my Cynthia voice. Oh
my God.
Any final thoughts on this episode? Anything that I missed that y'all want to discuss before we lean out?
I thought it was a good episode. I'm still looking. I love my brown girls. So I'm still looking. They getting on my nerves, a couple of them anyway. But I'm still looking forward to see what they bring for the rest of the season. And I'm really looking forward to this reunion that's going to take place. In the next couple of
is this episode 6 or 7? I think I may have titled this.
I think it's
7. It's 7.
Oh, it's 7?
Yeah.
So we should be kind of hitting that midway point.
Yeah. Well, they're going to mid-season finale.
Trailer. Where they going?
They supposed to be going to Portland, but I thought they went to the damn cabins in Tennessee somewhere. I didn't know they went to Portland.
They did, but that's later on in the season.
Oh, okay.
I think, I think we should be getting the mid-season trailer here in a couple of weeks.
I don't want it to be more than 2 reunion thingies.
It's going to be 3.
It shouldn't have to be. I agree with that. But it's probably going to be 3.
I want it to be 3.
Especially they got 16, 17 episodes.
Well, next week we got they go to the little spa thing, and Kandi and Marlo and Kenya get into it bad with the hands in the hands. So next week
that's something. I can't wait to see how Sanya feels about Kenya hands being in Marlo.
Well, they get into it at some point. I don't know at what point they do get into it.
In Kenya's defense, Marlo did walk up on.
No, I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying that was saying what one of the things that made Sanya mad at Drew was that she put her hand in Sheree's face. So,
but I guess maybe she might not say that about that because Drew did do that unwanted. Sheree was feet apart from her. But I mean, I do agree with you though. I want to see what she got to say about that too.
Okay. Well, as we get ready to lean out, make sure y'all like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching the replay, let us know in the comments what you thought about the hand-me-downs that Kandi got. Somebody in the comments said, "Child, even I would want Candy's hand-me-downs." Me neither, child. I would want them either. Maybe Marlo didn't want the stuff because it was from Kandi specific, because she know Kandi really can't dress. I don't know.
That could have been it as well.
Yeah.
But let us know what in the comments what y'all thought about the thing between Kandi and Marlo about the hand-me-down.
Hell, even Ty thought Kandi can't dress. He was talking about it too, right there in the chair in front of him.
Ain't nobody studying Todd, child. We'll go ahead and lean out. We'll see y'all Wednesday for Beverly Hills and Thursday for Dubai. Y'all have a good rest of y'all Monday, and we'll talk to y'all later, okay?
Good night.